Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Mystic Mayhem. Now, in today's video, we're going to be covering a character that we recently unlocked, and we also have now, or if you've been playing since the beginning, will have unlocked the free legendary highlight for this character as well. And the character that I'm talking about, because I can't show you the screen anymore because I've already done it, is going to be Moon Girl and Devil Dino. So this is the character that we're going to be talking about in today's video. I did a similar video talking about Epic. Yes, she's Epic. How epic Echo was. But today we're going to be talking about Moon Girl and Devil Dino, breaking her down, everything that she does. And the reason why is because we got her for free. We're getting her legendary highlight for free, which is absolutely insane as well. So I want to talk about all this and more. And if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Alright, let's get started with the video, everybody, and I do want to apologize in advance. I don't know what is going on with my game, but my graphics are super bugging out on the character image. This happens from time to time, at least when I'm playing on LD player on my computer, and I don't understand why. If you look and you swap between the characters, like, you can kind of see the image there, and then it basically goes into a black screen. So, Moon Girl and Devil Dino, right, who should be on the screen. I want to kind of break her down anyways, for those who are unfamiliar with her and what she does. Now, she is a controller class character. She does come as a 3-star, and I want to talk about her kit. Obviously, when you start the battle off, you do summon Devil Dino. You position your Moon Girl. Devil Dino just pops out, I think, at the closest enemy, and I want to talk about some of the skills. So let's just start off with, actually, this Missile Mania. Now, this is really important, actually, and this is something that you probably want to put down first if you have it in your hand, because this is a debuff for a mana cost of 3 that has an extremely large radius. And this is really important because the debuff Sneezing Powder that this applies is summon units deal more damage to enemies affected by Sneezing Powder. Now, this affects Devil Dino. This also affects if you do want to run a summon-based team. Now, this is something we'll talk about a little bit later. I am not super versed in characters like Thread, who is another summoner, and also I do not have Man-Thing, who would be probably the other person that you would run alongside this team. Those three together probably would be pretty good because of the summon units the enemies taking more damage from summon units, right? And especially Threads, which would be very powerful. This is a huge AoE. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's not too bad either. It's just really important to apply that first, because basically every other skill, the other cards, the special attack from the ultimate ability from Moon Girl, this is all damage coming from Devil Dino. So Terrible Tale on a cool mana cost of 3. This is kind of like pretty much right in front of him. I think it does have a little bit of a better range than Hulk's kind of like table flip kind of move. Deals physical damage to enemies in an area, stunning them for a period of time. And then Dynamic Duo, this is the ultimate move. This has like a very long, like kind of like in front of Devil Dino, but you can kind of hit a lot of targets with this. This ultimate move, deals physical damage, so it does do a lot. And again, if you have the Sneezing Powder debuff, it'll do even more. So you kind of want to chain those two together to make the most of it. And you can kind of see with the passive here. So BFFs, Devil Dino has 140% scaling, of course, of Moon Girl's HP and 100% of her attack and defense. Now, I think, don't quote me 100% please, but I'm almost certain that crit rate and crit damage will also transfer to Devil Dino, or at least the combination of Moon Girl and Devil Dino. That's how that stacks. But this is pretty important to understand as well. When Moon Girl is defeated, Devil Dino gains 100% attack speed, but loses so basically Devil Dino slowly dies out. Now, it's very rare, unless you're fighting using very hard content, that Moon Girl would actually die out. This has not really happened to me when I've used her. Devil Dino has died before, and now if Devil Dino dies on the field, you get a special skill that allows you to basically revive Devil Dino at a cost of 4. And you basically resummon him somewhere else, but it doesn't appear right away, so you do have to wait a little bit. I do want to talk about her talents though. So obviously a lot of the characters change when you level up, when you get the upgrades at 21, at 41, and then 61. So in this case, the first one, Dino Retaliation, Devil Dino's attack increases by 25% for 10 seconds after Moon Girl takes damage. This is pretty big, but it's most likely only going to happen from AoE sorts of attacks. It's not, or, you know, Moon Girl is not a tank. You don't want to put her up in the front. Jurassic Bond, also Moon Girl takes 25% less damage while Devil Dino's on the field, which is pretty much all the time. And then Dino Terror at a 61 reduces the attack of enemies adjacent to Devil Dino by 10%. So you can kind of use her as a quasi Devil Dino as a quasi tank, sort of, right? You know, if you need to do that and you build in that way, you can build Moon Girl in a variety of different ways. So I do want to kind of talk about that as well. Physical damage AoE, that is what she excels in with herself and Devil Dino. And I want to talk about the highlight, which again isn't showing up because of this black screen nonsense, which is absolutely crazy, right? You can kind of see it on the screen kind of floating around here. This is the one for free that you should have got for the 7-day logging calendar, and it is really important. But because it's a little bit easier, I'm going to go over here to mysticmayhem.gg, which is a great resource, by the way, and it shows a list of all the highlights and things like that and the artifacts. So Adventure Awaits. This is what we all got for free for Moon Girl and Devil Dino. The wearer's attack and HP increases by 10%, and for each allied summon unit on the field, the wearer's energy generation increases by 8%. This is big because if you wanted to chain with, say, Man-Thing and Thread, this would be an insane amount of energy generation. But I haven't used them in conjunction together, I'll admit, because I don't have Man-Thing, and I haven't used Thread all that much. But maybe that's something that I should give a try. But this is really good because the sneezing powder applied by Missile Mania lasts for 5 more seconds. And that's pretty important because the skill itself, I believe the debuff normally lasts for 10 seconds. So with the highlight, it's actually going up to 15 seconds. Now, some other highlights that you could use, I don't know why you would necessarily, unless later on down the line you're not able to get this right and it goes away. If you wanted to make her more towards a support-based character, Ancient Frontier, the other legendary one, energy generation 30%, and then the ultimate move, after using the ultimate move, the allies crit rate goes up by 16% for 10 seconds. So this is a lot if you're using a whole slew of other damage characters and you're building Moon Girl more in a support capacity. The other one's not so great, honestly. It's not that. This is okay. Nearby allies attack speed increased by 8 with the effect doubled for summon units by that to 16%. But again, a lot of these, this is Man-Thing's highlights, so I mean that's better for him more than anything. And some of the other ones are not really all that good. So I would just go for the legendary highlight that you get for free with that, because it's going to be more specific, obviously, to that character because you're getting a buff to the sneezing powder debuff. So that's really important there. Now, as far as how you should build her with artifacts, it is apparently recommended, I say apparently, to build her with energy generation, or at least energy generation abilities in mind. So I have the Gamma Mutagen, and I kind of wanted to build her more for offensive, right? She is an AoE physical damage dealer. So I'm using the artifact ability of the Gamma Mutagen to increase the energy generation by 20%, but I'm making sure that the substats are offensive. So attack percent, crit rate percent. I do prefer crit rate percent over crit damage, because if I can't crit, then the crit damage doesn't really matter that much. And then I have a purple unstable molecules for further attack percent, and I managed to get 20.6% attack, so that's pretty nice as well, since that's shared with Devil Dino. Some of the other recommendations, though, also on mysticmayhem.gg, is using the Avengers ID card, aside from those. So the Avengers ID card, the reason why I'm not doing this, though, is because I'm already often running Dream Queen in my team, who is already taking advantage of the ID card, and also one of my better ID cards that I have, actually, because the other one, this is more attack based. This one's okay, but it had 23% crit damage, and I didn't really want that too high when I'm not actually that high in my crit hit rating. So it's an okay version, but yeah, I did like this one here a little bit better. 16.3% HP and 9% energy generation, which I'm currently equipped to Dream Queen. But you can see the ability would also increase all allies attack by 15% for 10 seconds after the wearer uses their ultimate move. So again, kind of going more towards the offensive there, but I do really like Gamma Mutagen. I would love to get a purple version of the Gamma Mutagen, because I think that's a really great skill. Energy generation by 20%. Now, I do want to talk about, really quickly, the Soul Sagas, which again is going blank. I don't know what's going on today. My apologies, everybody. But I think I can still click on it right here. So Mind 1, Devil Dino recovers 30% of his max HP after using Terrible Tail, which isn't too bad, because I have found that Devil Dino can die. However, this one's really nice too. Allied summoned units deal 15% more damage and take 15% less damage. If you are considering running a summoned team with Thread and Man-Thing, things like that, this Heart 1 would be very good rather than Mind 1. Now, I do really love this, which is why I tend to go on the Mind track, because I'm getting the energy generation by 30%. And this is the same for pretty much all of the characters, and this is a lot. Heart 2 attack increases by 15%, which is good too. But energy generation 32. I just love doing my alts way more because it's going to trigger some of those support abilities a lot more frequently, especially like ID card and some of the ones associated with various highlights. That's why just in general I like the Mind 2 buff when I get around to that. And so yeah, some really good different buffs. This one would be really good, but only in a more support capacity, I guess. Enemies attack reduction by 25% over here on hard 3. And then, well, this takes forever, but hey, Devil Dino's attack ignores 50% of enemies' defense. That would be nice, but that's going to take a lot of dupes for Moon Girl, which I don't have. So for the second half of the video, I do want to actually take her into battle, which it probably won't be bugged, so we can actually get some gameplay and show you how this character works. Now, in terms of the content that I would actually use Moon Girl and Devil Dino in, it's not going to be Nightfall, because Nightfall, at least for the eyes, right, this is more single target DPS. You're not going to really want to do that. Now, she's really good in story and Memento and other places that you need to do that. Also really good in Battle Bonanza in the coins challenge if you need to do this because of the AoE damage required. Some of the treasure hunter ones I believe also have some AoE requirements in here, so some of them can be really good as long as they're not requiring special based damage. And also actually not too bad in Rune Raids, although Rune Raids is primarily single target DPS. I do find this one sometimes I actually use her in here because there's 3 of these guys, and so it actually helps to tank with Devil Dino, and there's a positioning that you can actually do to actually attack both of them at the same time. So for the purposes of this, we are actually going to test this in that Rune Raids, and also I do love using her in Crimson Campaign because I know this is like a roguelite mode where you can just get some different buffs, but there's a lot of AoE that you can end up doing in this too, so quite fun to play around in there. So let's go into a battle just so I can show you guys how they're used. So let's go into Rune Raids. I'm going to go into this one because I do like testing this one. Only just going to use the 30 energy though. We're going to go in and use Devil Dino. So I'm going to take out. So this is where I would normally use my Juggernaut to tank both of these at the same time. What I'm hoping happens is that Devil Dino gets summoned and they're both going to come over in there and fight. Now I'm going to see whether or not they can actually take the damage, whether or not my Devil Dino can actually take it. And so you can see here that I think you normally start with this actually. So you normally start with Missile Mania. Like I've almost always seen this in my hand at the very beginning every time. So it does say 10 seconds, even though I do have the highlight attached, right? It's a shame that it doesn't actually like go up there and it doesn't change it to 15 seconds, just so I'm aware of that. But it should last. And then we're gonna go over here and hit both of them over here for that one. Yes, I know there's stuff going on over here. I just kind of want to show you more about what happens with Devil Dino. So we're going to go over there and we're going to get the 2x there. I'm going to have to, I guess, let's put some attack down just to try to get my skills show back up again. Come on. There we go. And we got Terrible Tail. So that will stun bosses. I think we'll find out, right? And he's tanking fairly well over here on this challenge. So we're going to go in here and do the Conal. And you can see the Conal is actually pretty decent. Right, this is definitely more ranged than Hulk's table flip. Like I forget the name of the skill, but where he just flips in front of him. So it does have a range of 2 rather than a range of 1 in front of him. So I do like that. So we can go over here and you can see, and then I'm going to get a stun on both of them. It should, and it does stun them. So that's pretty decent damage. And then they're also right in front of me. You can see with the ultimate ability here that it does have this pretty lengthy range. Now, in terms of some of the challenges when you're doing AoE battles, this is actually a lot. Right now, unfortunately, I don't have Missile Mania on them anymore. It kind of fell off. So what I could do is, like, I could go fishing, I suppose, or use Dream Queen's ultimate right, and then just kind of fish for my missile power, whatever this skill is, sneezing powder. Right, there we go. Like, we could do that. So ideally, what you would want to do is you would want to apply this first before you're going into the ultimate. If you can do that, right, and then you go right there. They have the defense down. They have the sneezing powder, and then I can just go and do this and hit both of them. And this should do quite a bit of damage, even more if I happen to crit. It did 17,000 damage, and I hit them both. So that was 34,000 damage total, which is really, really nice. And I guess over here, they just killed them without me having to use much skills. So there we go. That was that. This does even more if you have multiple targets, right? The more targets, the better when it comes to Moon Girl and Devil Dino. I actually think they're a lot of fun, and it's very easy to keep Moon Girl out of harm's way. Now, I would love to experiment this with Thread, but I'm really obsessed with my combination of Scarlet Witch and Dream Queen, so I would have to dump somebody else, basically making Moon Girl in the support capacity and then using Thread as damage, and then just see that with that highlight, right? I kind of want to go back to that highlight because it is very important, and it'll just make her even stronger if you do happen to use her alongside. I really hope that this gets fixed. I don't know what I have to do to fix this. This black screen is super annoying, and I apologize everybody. This is like the first time it's really been that annoying to see when I've been trying to record a video. But again, this part where the whereas Moon Girl's energy generation is increasing by 8% for each allied summoned unit. And if you've ever played Thread at all, which, you know, maybe some of you haven't, you know, basically every time he uses a card, it summons, he has a particular summon card, and they can stay up as long as until they die. And so if you use the ranged versions of them, like over a longer fight, I can see this energy generation really stacking up and getting a bit crazy because there's no cap, right? And same with Man-Thing, like if you just have a whole crap ton of summoned units, she's getting 8% energy generation per summoned unit, which is going to stack up pretty heavily. So I would be curious what a team of Moon Girl and Man-Thing and Thread can do, because those are the main summoners of Marvel Mystic Mayhem. Otherwise, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you want a good alternative or a good AoE physical DPS character, Moon Girl and Devil Dino is really good, because really the only other options, I guess, you know, realistically would be like Falcon has some AoE, and then I guess Angela has a tank, and then Misty Knight, which everyone starts with. A lot of people are using Misty Knight, but I would much rather use Moon Girl and Devil Dino than Misty Knight. But that's just my thoughts in the comment. Let me know in the comments down below what yours are. Have you had a chance to use her? If not, maybe you should give her a shot. So that's it for now, everyone, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.